While this podcast isn't rated explicit, the content may not be suitable for younger listeners. Welcome to Sex for Saints, the Christian couple's guide to great sex. I'm your host, certified sex and marriage coach, Amanda Lauder. This is episode 310, Overcoming Sexual Disappointment. Welcome to Sex for Saints, a podcast for Christian couples. My goal with this podcast is to help enlighten, educate, and inspire you to understand yourself, your spouse, and your sexuality better. I talk about sex in a way you probably haven't heard before. I'm bold, I'm direct, but I keep everything in line with my strong Christian values. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the podcast. How's everybody doing today? I am surviving. Surviving all of this traveling and everything that needs to get done in between when we travel. Seems like it's just everything on repeat every single week. And I'm just struggling to keep up, but I'm glad to be here with you today. So today we're going to talk about overcoming sexual disappointment. So when things don't go the way that you had hoped or expected, it is completely normal to feel disappointment. And when we're feeling let down, dissatisfied, or disappointed when our sexual experiences don't meet our expectations, it's normal to feel sexual disappointment. Disappointment itself is a very complex emotion. When we experience disappointment, it's often because our expectations haven't been met. So in the context of marriage, sexual expectations can be deeply ingrained and influenced by societal norms, personal desires, and past experiences. And when these expectations aren't fulfilled, it can lead to feelings of frustration and sadness, and even anger. Moreover, sexual disappointment can trigger deeper insecurities and vulnerabilities within us. It can make us question our attractiveness, our desirability, and even our worth as a partner. We might wonder if there's something wrong with us or if our spouse is no longer interested. These thoughts can be incredibly distressing and can erode our self-esteem over time. Additionally, sexual disappointment can disrupt the emotional connection between partners. Intimacy is a fundamental aspect of marriage, and when it feels lacking or unsatisfactory, it can create a sense of disconnection and loneliness. And this in turn can lead to a breakdown in communication and further exacerbate the problem. Another reason why sexual disappointment is so hard to deal with is the stigma and taboo surrounding discussions about sex. Many couples find it's difficult to talk openly about their sexual needs and desires due to shame, embarrassment, or fear of judgment. And this lack of communication can create a cycle of frustration and misunderstanding, making it even harder to resolve sexual issues. Our culture often places a strong emphasis on performance and pleasure when it comes to sex. And there's a pressure to always have amazing, mind-blowing experiences in the bedroom, which can be very unrealistic and frankly unattainable. When couples fall short of these expectations, it can lead to feelings of inadequacy and disappointment. Finally, sexual disappointment can be particularly challenging because it touches on such intimate and personal aspects of our lives. Our sexuality is deeply entwined with our sense of identity, and when it feels unsatisfactory, it can shake us to our very core. It requires a great deal of vulnerability and courage to confront these feelings with our partners and work towards a resolution. In essence, sexual disappointment is hard to deal with because it strikes at the heart of our relationships, our sense of self, and our deepest desires. However, by acknowledging these challenges and approaching them with empathy, openness, and a willingness to work together, couples can improve and overcome sexual disappointment and strengthen their bond in the process. Now, there can be numerous reasons why we might experience sexual disappointment in our marriages. It could be due to mismatched libidos, unmet expectations, getting turned down, unresolved conflicts outside of the bedroom, stress, fatigue, or even physical issues. Whatever the cause, it's essential to address it rather than sweep it under the rug. When addressing it, it's important to remember that disappointment is a normal emotion. And when you don't get what you want or what you expected, disappointment is valid. And that is really important to remember, either for yourself or for your partner. But often when we feel disappointed about something, one of three things happens. Number one, we react to it by getting angry, withdrawing, disconnecting, or even punishing our spouse. Number two, we could, instead of react, resist it and pretend that we aren't disappointed, which usually means that we're going to explode later because you can't resist things for very long. Eventually, they will explode, okay? Or number three, we just try to avoid the emotion by distracting ourselves with other things. Now, none of these are healthy options, so we need to deal with the disappointment when it arises. First, we need to acknowledge to ourselves that what we are feeling is normal given the circumstances. Give ourselves space to feel what we need to feel without reacting to it, resisting it, or avoiding it. And once we've made sure we are calm and can have a productive conversation about it, we need to communicate with our partner without judgment or blame. So here's an example of how I like to outline these conversations. I'd like to talk to you about something important to me. Would now be a good time? So when I ask if you want to have sex and you say no, I'm disappointed because I had the expectation of sex tonight. My brain starts to tell me stories about how you must not find me attractive or you don't love me anymore, which is really hard. And it's okay that I'm disappointed. It's not your job to solve for that. I'm working on the stories that I'm telling myself about it as well. But I was wondering if you would be open to finding a time that the two of us can be sexual in the next few days, because I really love you and I would love to connect with you in this way. So with this conversation that I've just outlined, you are, number one, making sure it's a good time to have a hard conversation. Okay. Number two, you're stating what happened, the facts. Number three, you're letting your spouse know how you are thinking and feeling because of the situation. Number four, you are taking ownership over your own emotions and the stories that you're telling yourself. And number five, you're asking for a collaborative solution that you can work on together. Will this always work? No, it will not, unfortunately. But the chances of it working are a lot higher than if you blame, judge, or expect your spouse to solve things for you. Another good thing to keep in mind is that it's important for you to manage your own expectations. Having sexual expectations within marriage isn't inherently problematic, but it can become an issue when those expectations are unrealistic, uncommunicated, or rigid. So here are some potential problems associated with having sexual expectations within marriage. First is unrealistic expectations. Expecting every sexual encounter to be perfect or mirror what we see in movies or read in romance novels can set couples up for disappointment. Real life intimacy is messy and diverse and doesn't always align with fantasy. Unrealistic expectations can lead to feelings of inadequacy, frustration, and dissatisfaction when reality falls short. The second is pressure and performance anxiety. So when one or both partners feel pressured to meet certain sexual expectations, it can create performance anxiety and hinder enjoyment. Now, the pressure to perform can detract from the intimacy and connection that should be the focus of sexual encounters, leading to stress and tension in the relationship. Third is communication barriers. If sexual expectations are uncommunicated or assumed, it can lead to misunderstandings and resentment. Each partner may have different desires, preferences, or boundaries when it comes to sex. Without open communication, it's challenging to understand and meet each other's needs, leading to dissatisfaction and conflict. The fourth is comparison and insecurity. So comparing one's sex life to that of others or to idealized standards can breed insecurity and jealousy within the relationship. Feeling like you're not living up to societal or personal expectations can damage self-esteem and create feelings of inadequacy. So it's essential to focus on the unique dynamics and connection between partners rather than external benchmarks. And where I see a lot of this happening is comparison to porn. Either men expecting that real sex and intimacy look and feel like pornography, or women comparing themselves to idealized body types, or, the way the sexual response works in pornography, which is just unrealistic. All right, the next is lack of flexibility. So rigid sexual expectations can stifle spontaneity and exploration within the relationship. When couples feel constrained by present notions of what sex should be like, they may miss out on opportunities for growth, discovery, and deepening intimacy. Being open to new experiences and adapting to each other's changing desires is essential for a healthy and fulfilling sex life. And last but not least is impact on libido. High or mismatched sexual expectations can put undue pressure on one or both partners, leading to changes in libido. Feeling obligated to meet certain standards or frequency of sexual activity can diminish desire and lead to avoidance or resentment. It's crucial for couples to find a balance that honors both partners' needs and desires. So overall, while having sexual expectations within marriage is natural, it's essential to approach them with flexibility, communication, and empathy. Couples who openly discuss their desires, boundaries, and fantasies can cultivate a sex life that is satisfying, fulfilling, and sustainable for both partners. I always say that expectations, especially ones that are unrealistic, uncommunicated, or rigid, is just setting yourself up for disappointment and resentment. Can you have a want, a desire? Absolutely. And even with those, you might experience some disappointment, but an expectation is almost sure to. I think it's also important to understand that most people didn't really know what to expect in a sexual relationship if you've never had one before, despite what you see in media. So understanding that there will be ups and downs, you will get turned down, and every sexual encounter is not going to be mind-blowing is good to remember. Preventing sexual disappointment involves proactive steps. Prioritize your relationship by making time for intimacy, both physical and emotional. Explore new ways to connect with your partner and keep the passion alive. Remember, it's not just about the act itself, but the connection it fosters between you and your spouse. Maintaining connection with your spouse during times of sexual disappointment is crucial. It's easy to withdraw or blame each other when things aren't going as planned, but that only leads to further distance. Instead, focus on strengthening your emotional bond through affection, communication, and shared experiences. So if you find yourself disconnected after disappointment, it's important to work on reconnecting with your spouse. So here are some strategies to help you. First, open communication. Start by having an open and honest conversation about what happened and how you both feel. Avoid blaming or criticizing each other and instead focus on expressing your own feelings and listening to your partner's perspective. Use I statements to communicate your emotions without assigning fault. Second, validate each other's feelings. Validate your partner's feelings and experiences, even if they differ from your own. Let them know that you understand and empathize with what they're going through. Feeling heard and understood is essential for rebuilding trust and connection. Third, reaffirm your love and commitment. Remind each other of your love and commitment to the relationship. Reassure your partner that you're in this together and that you're committed to working through any challenge that arises. Expressing affection and appreciation can help rebuild the emotional bond between you. Fourth, focus on emotional intimacy. Prioritize emotional intimacy by spending quality time together, engaging in meaningful conversations, and sharing your thoughts and feelings with each other. Building a strong emotional connection lays the foundation for a satisfying and fulfilling sex life. Fifth, explore non-sexual forms of intimacy. Take the pressure off by focusing on non-sexual forms of intimacy, such as cuddling, holding hands, kissing, or giving each other massages. Physical touch releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which can help strengthen your connection and foster feelings of closeness. Sixth, set realistic expectations. Understand that reconnecting after disappointment takes time and patience. Don't expect things to go back to normal overnight. Be realistic about the progress you're making and celebrate small victories along the way. And last but not least, seek professional help if needed. If you're struggling to reconnect on your own, don't hesitate to seek the guidance of a therapist or coach who specializes in couples coaching and therapy. A trained professional can provide you with tools and strategies to navigate through challenges and rebuild your relationship. All right, my friends, that's all I have for you today. Don't forget that I still have the coupon code of using podcast to get half off your first month in my membership. Go to amandalauder.com, click on Get Help in the menu, and go to the membership and to learn all about it. All right, remember, love is a journey, not a destination. Stay committed, stay passionate, and stay connected. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. If you want to learn how to apply what I teach you on this podcast, I want to invite you to work with me in my Embrace You coaching programs. In my coaching programs, I teach you all of the skills and tools you need to have a better relationship with yourself, your spouse, and your sexuality. You also get weekly coaching to help you apply what you are learning in your own relationship. For more information, go to amandalauder.com and click Get Help in the menu to see my programs for both men and women. Like what you're hearing on this podcast? Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Don't forget to leave me a review and share it with your friends.